Today, we're going to talk about the difference between a worship pastor and a worship leader. Let's jump into it. What's going on, fam? My name is Michael, and I help worship leaders grow spiritually and practically so that they can lead worship more effectively. And today, we're going to talk about the differences between a worship leader and a worship pastor. But before we get started, I want to give you something. It's called my Worship Leader Toolkit. This toolkit has a whole bunch of different tips inside of it, giving you things and helping you with things like how to choose the right songs for your church, how to lead worship more effectively, what to do before service. I got a service checklist in there. It's got about 5 different teaching tools in it to help you become more effective. Go to my website, michaeleagle.com/toolkit to get it right now. Now let's jump into today's topic. Look, this is a little controversial. Some people believe we need worship pastors. Some believe we don't. Some people believe in no worship leader, and it's all the whole thing. And today I'm just going to spell out some differences from my perspective. Now, these might not be the universal titles or the universal descriptions, and these are things that I am coming up with, descriptions that I am coming up with. So please don't shoot me in the comments if my titles, my descriptions are different from yours. Speaking of that, jump in the comments. I want to hear what you feel the differences are between a worship leader and worship pastor. And then tell me, hey, if you're a worship leader, worship pastor, whatever, just toss in the comments. Let's talk back and forth. All right, I'm going to put on the screen some definitions to help us get a little bit more clarity. And again, these are my definitions to help us get a little bit more clarity. All right, so let's start off with the worship leader. The worship leader is an individual who uses multiple songs or moments to take the audience on a journey in God's presence. This individual has the responsibility to navigate and to lead people into encounters with God. From my definition, I see a worship leader as someone who helps facilitate the worship moment, someone who helps us to come into an encounter with God, someone who helps us to see God, to hear God, to know God, and they help us to foster our relationship with God in a corporate worship setting. That is what I call a worship leader. Now let's jump into a worship pastor before we talk about the differences. Look, if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for a coach, if you're looking for someone to help you, I want you to join my Effective Worship Leader Academy. This academy is a vibrant community of worship leaders and worship pastors who are looking to grow, who are looking to excel, who are looking to be poured into when it comes to worship ministry. All you have to do is go to my website in michaeleagle.com/academy to join us in this vibrant community of worship leaders who are looking to go to the next level. Now, here's my definition for a worship pastor. A worship pastor is an individual whose goal is to better the overall lives of the worship team and ministry. This individual may give counsel, advice to the team. They may cultivate them not only in music, but also in life and spiritual life. This person manages the team, they manage music and anything else concerning worship. They also may lead people into the presence of God. Now, my definition of a worship pastor is not only just a person who does worship leading, but they do more of the pastoral type of things with the worship team and outside of the worship team as well. So they may counsel, they may teach, they may pray, they may lay hands, all of these different pastoral type things in the context of the worship ministry. And even if the senior pastor is asking them to do it outside of the worship ministry. Now, the reason why I think we have some differences is because, as you can see, in my definition, the worship leader mostly focuses on the worship encounter. So he or she is going to focus on how can I facilitate a worship encounter? How can I get people to cultivate their relationship with Jesus during the corporate worship setting? Now, for a worship pastor, they are looking and saying, how can I get people to cultivate a relationship with Jesus, not only just in the corporate worship setting, but outside of that setting? How can I disciple them? How can I help them? How can I pray for them? How can I teach them and to help them outside of just the musical or the worship part of service? Now, the reason why we need to know the differences is because what I'm finding out is that a lot of pastors or a lot of people in worship ministry are looking for worship leaders to do something outside of their parameter or outside of their title. Now, do I believe that worship leaders can pastor? Worship leaders can do some duties of pastoring during their worship ministry. And when they're dealing with their team and when they're dealing with the band, that they are pastoring and they are doing some pastorly duties? Yes. But my only difference is I believe that the worship pastor may be someone who has coming in agreement with the calling to pastor and to help. And I think that a lot of times we are looking for things from worship leaders or looking for things from worship pastors, and we're trying to figure out why are they not doing this and why are they not doing that? Maybe because that's just not in their jurisdiction. Maybe because that's just not in their gifting, in their nature of what God has called them to do. And if we can just have a better description and outlook on people, then we won't have unrealistic expectations or unmet expectations when it comes to our worship ministry. So here's my suggestion. I think, this is me, period, that you should have a worship leader or multiple worship leaders at your church if possible. And then you should have a worship pastor. So someone who is helping to pastor the worship ministry. And then you have the worship leaders who are under that worship pastor that are helping to facilitate these worship moments. That is just my opinion. And I think it works out better if we have this totality of people. So yeah, jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this. I really want to hear what you have to say. All right, fam, don't forget to get that worship leader toolkit. You can get it right there at the link in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, fam, peace.